caught my girlfriend cheating this week. Hindsight is always 20/20, but truthfully, I saw all the red flags along the way and checked them off like they were goals. I always gave her the benefit of the doubt, even when I knew I shouldn't. She's 19 and I'm 21 for reference. First major red flag. Her ex lived with her and her family, though ironically he's moving out as I type this. I believed for the longest time that they didn't care for each other because her mom catfished her ex and got his nudes. That's messed up in its own right. But there were always red flags along the way. Some big ones were how she'd get him to rub her feet or her back, or how I saw her kiss his hand once in the beginning. Whenever I called her out on these things, she'd always go into hysterics and beg me not to leave, talking about how sorry she is, it won't happen again, I'm the love of her life, blah, blah, blah. After everything she did to hurt my trust, she tells me I can go through her phone whenever I want, because she has nothing to hide. I don't really believe in going through your S/OS phone. I always thought it was toxic as hell. Well, the other night I get on her phone to stop her Chromecast, and it opens to a page of recently installed apps. In this list of apps, I see one of those texting apps that generates you a fake number to text call from. She downloaded this app because last time I tried to leave her, I blocked her on everything and her family too. It was her only way to text me. Well, guess who she's texted? Her ex. The latest text being from right before we laid in bed that night. Good night, I love you. There's texts telling him to be quiet when he gets in her car because she has me on the phone, texts going on about how much she wants him there, texts begging him not to say anything about her texting him. I'm shaking at this point, not heartbroken, not angry, just absolutely done. I wake her up, hey, babe, what the is this? She just feigned ignorance, unconvincingly saying, I don't know. Then she just repeated, wait, 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 over and over and over. Honestly, it was a dead giveaway. Eventually, she claims it was her mom texting her ex because her mom didn't believe that her ex really didn't care for her anymore, and because her mom had catfished him before. Even though the whole car text message would make no sense then. Her mom eventually says that she was the one who texted her ex, not my girlfriend. Though her grandma told me that her mom was lying to protect my girlfriend. And now I have to spend 2 8-hour car rides with them and their 3 dogs and 3 days in a hotel with them. Can't wait. Once I'm home, I'm leaving her for good. Edit 1. Rewarded something's edit 2. I backed out of the road trip, left her, and went home. Story 2. My friends are making me, 25F, talk to my ex, 27M, before every event. I was with my ex for 6 years before he dumped me suddenly a little over a month ago. He gave me no real reason, but said he lost the spark. It was very shocking as we hadn't been fighting and he never addressed any issues beforehand. I was on stress leave at the time and suffering from PTSD and compassion fatigue from my job. I suspect this might have been too much for him to handle. I am still at the height of the awfulness. I hate him. I miss him. I want to yell at him. I want him to hold me. On top of grieving losing the man I thought was the one and the future I had been imagining myself having with him, we also share an extremely close, insular friend group. I live with his brother. His brother's GF is one of my best friends. His childhood friend and his girlfriend are also my best friends, etc. While most of our friends, especially the girls, are understanding of my grief, some of them are extremely insensitive and tell me hurtful things about my ex. Example, a friend told me that the real reason my ex broke up with me is because he couldn't picture having kids with me. I expressed to one friend that I was sad my ex was dating. After only 3 weeks, and friend said, well, that's long enough, and then with a joyous smile said is just getting out there and seeing what's there for him, etc. In general, our friends worship the ground he walks on in an abnormal way. I noticed this from day 1. This has made an already difficult situation way harder for me. I haven't seen my ex physically since the breakup, but he is popping up everywhere, not only in conversation. I had to change all my social media settings and mute many of my friends. I can't move out because I'm broke because of the stress leave. I won't get the money for possible months, and am trying to quit the toxic job. Most recently, some of my friends came forward and told me that their solution to making sure both me and my ex are included in events from now on is to invite both of us to everything and then have us discuss amongst ourselves who is going to go. I do not want to talk to him 2+ times a month. I don't want to talk to him at all. Everything I read online says no contact is the way to heal, and that constant communication is going to hold me back. I don't want to lose my friends, especially when I already lost my partner. Has anyone been in similar situations? Feel like everything is falling apart. Also, any advice on how to tone a breakup and not look like my life is a mess at it. Okay, I feel the need to say that this post has painted my friend group in a pretty bad light as I named the 2 worst things people have said to me during the breakup. I didn't talk about the ones who are checking in often, letting me vent, getting me to come work out with them, inviting me over to sleep at their place, offering to move my furniture in my room around to make a fresh start, etc. Those people are the reason I'm so worried about potentially losing this group of friends. If everyone was as the guy who made the comment relating to my ex dating so early, I would not be upset. Story 3. I 33F, want to leave my husband, 35M, but I feel guilty. My husband, 35M, and I, 33F, have been married for 10 years. Our kids are 8 and 3. Years ago, when we had been dating for a year, I decided it was important to me to move to the country where my extended family is. His career did not exist there, and it would be a very different life than he was used to, so I actually broke up with him. But he followed me anyway of his own free will, and we ended up settling here together and getting married. Here we live next door to my parents and very close to other members of my family and family friends. It's a very communal life, and we're both very enmeshed in the local community. He was originally born in this country, so he fits in, but at the same time his family emigrated when he was young, so he really has no remaining family/connections here really. As I mentioned, he had to give up his career when he moved here. That's not his fault. But since then he's jumped jobs a lot. He tends to start things and then not finish them. This has cost our family a lot in both income and him simply not being available to help because he's pursuing some new path. He even went away for training for something 6 months after our youngest was born. The reality is that for most of our marriage, I've out-earned him, worked more hours, and done the majority of the childcare/home care, with my family filling in the gaps. There's also the simple fact that I don't love him anymore. We've come to an impasse on a lot of issues like division of labor and our physical relationship, and I'm frankly done. But the idea of leaving him seems almost cruel. Our entire lives are built around my family and my parents. Our support system is made up of my actual family and family friends. His best friend is literally my half-sister's husband. We rent our house from my parents. It's technically on their land. To make matters worse, he doesn't have a lot of living family, so he genuinely enjoys mine and sort of sees them as a surrogate family. It's not like he'll be shunned, or like I want him to leave our community. But even if I go out of my way to make it clear to everyone that it's amicable, it will still weaken a lot of his relationships. There are definitely people in our community who will feel the need to take a side, and most of them will default to mine. To make things worse, he doesn't have a lot of family living, which is part of why he's so close with mine. Because of specifics of our financial situation, his work situation, and our country's laws, he probably wouldn't really get any alimony or a lot of money in the divorce generally, and I'd probably get most of the custody too, since I spend way more time with the kids and I'm easily the primary caregiver. Though of course would make sure he has more time and give him money, but it would be more on my terms, which is maybe a bit demeaning. If we didn't have kids, I'm fairly sure he'd choose just leave the country, but because of custody and presumably wanting to be close to them. I'm not sure what his choice would be. The way we built our lives was a mutual decision, and he's never said he's sick of my family or wants to distance himself, and obviously I'm the one who was encouraging him to work more and be with the kids more. But I'm realizing now that if we divorced, the power gap would be really different and upend his entire life.